Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about 3 instant manifestation stories from people that I know personally and how to manifest instantly, how to get whatever you want in the fastest, quickest way possible. So if you've been having trouble, if you've been asking yourself, why is my manifestation not coming? Or certain things may happen, but it always stops. It's not getting to where you want it to go. Or maybe you're just sick of waiting altogether. Or perhaps you haven't even started yet and you're just looking for the most accurate, specific way to get this done in the quickest manner possible. And that's what I want to show you in this video. So first of all, before we begin, hit the like button. It does something to the algorithm so that those who wouldn't normally be able to find this video, they'll be able to see it. It's been working. Also hit the subscribe button for laser target systematic methods on manifesting anything that you want, money, specific people, whatever the case is, in a way broken down that is not spoken about anywhere else. I mean that for sure. And I'm not regurgitating information. Everything is unique. I get it from valid sources that I have tested systematically through years, and that is what I'm giving to you. So anyway, let's jump right into this then. I tend to try to stay away from time frames when I talk about manifestation, because the truth is that our seeds that we plant when we imagine something grow as fast as they possibly can. So in other words, when we imagine something, what we do is we impress the subconscious mind, and there's zero delay between the time that we imagine and the time that our manifestation begins to unfold in this physical realm. But there are a couple stories I want to show you, and then I'll give you a couple tips along the way of exactly what these individuals did and how to sharpen your skills to manifest whatever you want fast, 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 fast. So number one, the first one that I want to talk about is my friend James. He is not really a manifester. He believes what I say. He can manifest, but he deliberately chooses not to manifest. He likes to not interfere with the way that things naturally occur. Although I try to explain at times that to everyone, my friends, that we're always in a sense creating through our subconscious mind, but nevertheless, some individuals choose not to mess with anything. So he's one of those. However, he listens to me talk about manifesting because, well, that's all I talk about, right? I am the manifestation coach. My job is manifestation. I have been manifesting for 10 years. And so if you're hanging out with me, then sorry, you're going to be hearing about manifestation and problems. Generally, back in the day when people used to tell me problems, I would hear them and talk back my problems. But now I just give the solution, which is manifestation. Anyway, talking about James, he doesn't tell me about his problems though. He basically was hanging out with me, and I had just done a video or a workshop or something of the like, and I said, hey, what I would do is I would give him a technique every once in a while, and I would just say, hey, can you do me a favor and test this? And I would tell him what to do. And this time I said, hey, can you visualize this? Can you imagine in first person just having received a lot of money? And so a couple days, he said, sure, no problem. A couple days later, and he was almost unfazed, which is really funny, because normally when people manifest something, they're super ecstatic. But like I said, he believes it. He just decided to not, he doesn't like to manifest. Anyway, so he comes to me and he says, hey, guess what? Guess what happened? I said, what? He says, I sold 3 paintings for X amount of thousands of dollars, and which is really excellent for him, right? So he's the guy that painted this, right? This. And he also painted, where is it? Oh, it's not in here. Anyway, he's awesome. But selling 3 paintings, which was way out of the norm, and then also someone randomly walked into his workplace and offered him a job, which would be an epic promotion from where he currently worked at that time. And so he would have, a lot more money. So I said, well, what did you do? He said, well, I sat there. I essentially, and this is what he did. He said he visualized stacks of money on his shelves, stacks of money on his shelf. So he was in his office imagining that there were all stacks of hundreds just chilling on the shelf in front of him. And then within a day, all that money came to him. So what did he do specifically, and what do I recommend? What is the key here to getting this manifestation extremely fast? Well, there's a couple things that stand out to me. And the first one is that he's detached. right? So as I said, he does not really like to manifest. It's not his thing. He used to be into it. He can do it. He's very good at it. He has a very great understanding, a better understanding than me actually, regarding awareness and this type of thing. However, he doesn't like to interfere in life. So his detachment factor is through the roof. I would say probably 9 or 10 out of 10. Secondly, he calibrated before he entered into this imaginal scene. So when he imagined, he follows the instructions that I give, which is after the end, first person point of view, right? This is standard manifesting 101. But he took the time beforehand. He said I forget the way he phrased it properly or exactly, but he said that he allowed his mind to settle so that the formless, which he was referring to God or awareness, is empty. And then he, in the formlessness of God, he converted or transferred that imaginal act into the stacks of money. So really what I'm talking about here is he just relaxed. He closed his eyes. He took deep breaths for a short span of time. And he waited for his mind to be cleared before he jumped into this imaginal act, and the results followed almost immediately. So those are a couple tips right there, which is basically being detached. Super, super, super huge. I know individuals who've been manifesting or attempting to manifest things for years, finally realize that they have to detach from the situation, and that's the day that it happens. Often that happens with specific people. And then also, besides that, calibrating. A lot of people, most people actually, all people that I coach, almost every single one that I ask, even after I tell them, take time to relax first, close your eyes, clear your mind, etc. Do like a little meditation or whatever for a minute or two. No one does it, right? I do this and it works extravagantly well if I need to do it, right? So do that. You will have a massive head start. A lot of times people rush into this, right? Rush into their imaginal act. But here's the downside to that. I'm going to tell you there's a very specific reason, no speculation. You will be grabbing and taking this reality and mixing it with the imaginal act, which means you're getting a half-baked version of the manifestation if you don't take the time to calibrate. So it's not just that relaxing is better. You will have a better chance of embodying the experience of the wish fulfilled if you relax first. So that's number one. Number two, I want to talk about number two now. This is super exciting. So my cousin has come out here to visit me from the East Coast, and he directly and with no qualms about it basically told me that he thinks everything I'm teaching is nonsense. He wasn't being mean or anything like that. He's a very funny, lovable person, but he basically told me that it's a bunch of nonsense and magic that's fake. But nevertheless, as I said before, if you hang out with me long enough, eventually something is going to seep into your head, right? Either that or I imagine that something will seep into your head, which in this case, I may or may not have done, but regardless, this is what happened. So I gave him a task to sort through some of my footage and cut them up into clips because, as I said, I'm going to be doing a little bit different posting and content this year, which you guys are going to be super excited about. If you maintain here, make sure you hit the bell icon so that you can stay tuned for that. Well, anyway, I was having him go through it, and I basically started asking him questions afterward, like, hey, listen, you're brand new. This is perfect. Tell me what your questions are. And one thing led to another, and basically we started talking about the job that he wanted, and then I said, well, here we go. We've got to put this to the test. So what he did was he imagined that he received his job. Now, I told him everything. I told him how to do it. I told him first person point of view, and he essentially just did it. He sat there for about 5 minutes. I sat there for about 5 minutes and imagined my own things, and that was the end of it. Well, today, so this is 2 days later, he got a call from that job. The job that he applied to is an upper level job and managerial position, which he does not have experience in corporations or companies for, only his own personal stuff. But nevertheless, this job is basically his. It's basically in the bag. And so basically what that means is that his one simple little imaginal act worked very well. Now, what did he do? How did this happen so fast? Why was it so easy? He's been unemployed for a while and he's had some really tragic things happen in his recent past. What did he do different than the rest of us who have had trouble manifesting that allowed him to get this so quickly? So basically the process that I told him to go through. One of the things that he did very well was he kept his scene short and concise. So what he did was he imagined he was on his porch back home with his friend, having a back and forth exchange about how he's so happy that he has his job and that he's so lucky that he has his job, and he named the specific job, and then having his best friend say something of the like you're really lucky or something. But not only that, see, that in and of itself is an epic example of a scene, right? And he did it in first person point of view. But I think really the key here is the fact that he kept repeating it. Another pitfall that individuals that I coach or people in my VIP that they ignore is to loop the scene, or perhaps they're unaware of it. The looping of the scene, this is the technical aspect of it. The looping of the scene is what allows a full impression on the subconscious mind rather than a partial or scattered impression. So what do I mean by that? A partial or scattered impression can happen if you are viewing something or imagining something and you don't get the whole thing impressed, only bits and pieces of it are impressed. So in other words, an example of this would be to picture if you were imagining a scene that was 10 hours long. This is an extreme example, but I think it will basically explain the point to you. So say you're imagining a scene that's 10 hours long. There will be certain parts of that scene that will intrigue you very likely. So say you're going, say the desire is to be on vacation in Thailand. So you're on vacation in Thailand, you're imagining driving on a tuk-tuk for 7 hours, and then 2 hours in the hotel, and then finally the last minute, you are excited and you've gotten, I don't know, something amazing happened. Well, the parts that are going to stick out the most are the ones that cause most reaction within you, right? Or in other words, those ones that stand out are the ones that are going to be impressed on the subconscious mind. Otherwise, you kind of lose attention or you don't care. So what lesson do we take from that big example? If you construct a very small scene, then it's very easy to stay focused on it the whole time. And if you stay focused on it the whole time, then you have a very good chance of impressing it on the subconscious mind. Now, if you loop it over and over and over in one sitting, you keep replaying it over and over and over, then eventually you will 100% get an accurate, extreme accurate impression upon your subconscious mind. And well, then from there on, you will manifest the exact nature of the thing that you've impressed on your subconscious mind. So short, condensed, the end, he spoke only of the end. He already had the job, and a repeat of it for 5 minutes straight did the trick. Now I want to talk about the third and final one. This one is basically the last but not least. Well, it's my cousin again. So that night that he imagined, that he also did something else. So there was a tragedy that happened recently. His fiance had broken up with him last minute and cut off contact with him. So it was basically everyone's worst nightmare. And for him, it was almost too much to bear. Well, coming out here, he's had a little bit of time to reflect and get on his feet. Well, he decided after hearing everything that I said to imagine that he was back with her. Now, what happened was this. This is from my perception, right? I was carrying on the day, and then all of a sudden I see him go outside and talk on the phone and close the door, which was a little bit abnormal because generally we just talk on the phone right next to each other, right? Because that's just the type of relationship we have. We don't have to hide things from each other. Well, anyway, so he goes outside and then he comes back in. And then he says to me, I manifested her. And I said, what? He said, yeah, I manifested such and such back. And I said, what do you mean? He said, last night before I went to bed, I just claimed to myself that I was back together with her. And I imagined it briefly. And he said he wasn't too clear on what he had imagined because he was so close near bed, but he claimed it. He said, I am back together with such and such. I am back together with such and such. And he fell asleep. He fell asleep while doing that, right? He was so drowsy doing it that he fell asleep. Well, this is what happened. An hour after he was asleep, his ex-fiance, who had not spoken to him in months, suddenly reacted to his social media And he was sleeping, obviously, but then after, she texted him and then she called him, and she's, first of all, not the one to reach out. They have not spoken in months. And so the plan is that when he gets back, they are actually getting back together. And it's like, what? There are people who I talk to, people who I coach who have trouble with this, right? I've manifested specific people. I've had many clients manifest specific people, but it's the most sought after manifestation. Why did this work so well for him? Well, there's two reasons that I can see. Number one is that he fell asleep while doing this. Falling asleep while doing this is literally keeping the door cracked open, entering into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is non-selective, and when the conscious mind is shut down or reduced to a minimum, which is when you fall asleep is the number one time, this statement and or imaginal act will seep in that cracked door and enter into the subconscious unscathed, unblocked, and it will manifest with no question whatsoever 100% of the time. So if you're trying to get a manifestation and you want it so bad and you're seeing trouble with it, imagine until you fall asleep. It is a done deal. And the second thing I want to point out here is that he had a beginner's mind. So he had no doubt. He didn't even have any belief as it relates to it. He just claimed it in his heart, didn't think about believing, didn't think about any of that stuff, and just fell asleep. So listen, I hope this was helpful. I hope you got some tips from this and some inspiration. I certainly did. It was really awesome to hear these stories from other people. Make sure you send me your stories and testimonials for me to share on here as well. And also, definitely like this. Hit the bell icon. Oh, go on my email list because my email list and my Instagram, because this year, as I said, I'm going to be expanding the content to various social media. So get on there now, stay a part of it. And listen, I'll talk to you next time.